Welcome to Torah is for everyone. Baruch, it's good to see you. I see you have your Canadians hockey hat on. We won so far. Yay, yay, yay. Keep going, hockey. Go, Habs, go. I saw a police car all with red and blue for all painted for the hockey team. And Miriam, nice to see you. And Jerry, nice to see you guys.
Welcome back, Jerry. I haven't seen you
Thank you.
for.
Thank you.
I'm glad to see you're at the beach again.
Oh, yes, that's right.
So tonight we're going to be looking at the holiday that's coming up. Who knows what it is?
What?
Shavuot, exactly. It means the Feast of Weeks. It has actually several names. Shavuot was first, let me see my notes here. So Shavuot is called first in Exodus 34, the Feast of Weeks, Chag HaShavuot, the wheat harvest. And in Deuteronomy, it's called the Festival of Reaping, Chag HaKatzir in Exodus also. And in Numbers, it's called the Day of the First Fruits. So on the first day of Shavuot, the Torah reading, we read about the revelation at Mount Sinai in Exodus 19. This is on the first day. Those are the readings. Exodus 19:1 to 20:23. And before that awesome revelation, there was a period of preparation that we had to go through where we walked for 7 weeks journeying from Egypt to Mount Sinai.
Just
So,
one thing, when we
yes,
hear about the different, uh, uh, festivals, isn't first fruits kind of called separately as a separate, but it's really part of Shavuot?
um,
Like,
well, Shavuot is only one day, even though in the diaspora they made it 2 days. So, but I think it's spoken about like that because as we're going to see when we start reading the portion, the first thing that God speaks about is the tithe, bringing the
oh,
first
the
fruits to
first fruit.
God. So it's not really a festival of first fruits, although that's an application of it, that we always have to, God is always telling us, remember what I did for you. Remember that I'm always with you and bring back a percentage. But in this portion, you're going to see that there's different tithes. People think that only 10% is all we have to give. But every 3 years there was a tithe, every seventh year. And some of the tithes were to take care of the Leviim. They were to build a Mishkan. They were to, because the Levites didn't have land, they needed to be taken care of. So, but God was showing us that when we're in community, we need to take care of each other. So let me see. Let me share the screen, and I have so many things here. Okay, so let's go here to, so we'll start with reading Deuteronomy 14:22. 14:22. Here we go. So we're beginning with, you shall set aside every year a tenth of all the yield of your sowing that is brought from the field. And believe it or not, I've really taken this to heart because what I do once a year is I'll take a look at, aside from the regular tithing that I do, I take a look at what I've received for the year or what I have in my account at that moment, and I give another tithe. But it says here also, you shall consume the tithes of your new grain. It's about eating wine, oil, sourdough bread. Uh-oh. I'm going to say hello to my daughter and then goodbye. Tammy, I'm on my class. I can't talk to you right now.
Sorry,
That's okay.
the packages aren't working.
You're gonna be on recording. Everybody's gonna see you.
Sorry.
Okay.
You know?
Does anybody know you have to call the pharmacy? Okay. My poor daughter fell yesterday and her ankle's all swollen. So the pharmacy sent her these cold packs, and she doesn't know how to get them to work. Anyway, all right, let's go back here. So the Shavuot is all about rejoicing, bringing in the grain, drinking wine, taking the best of the olive oil, the first fruits of the flock, the herds and of the flocks, in the presence of the eternal your God, in the place where God will choose to establish his divine name, so that you may learn to revere the eternal your God forever. And I don't know what you think about this, guys, because it says, eat, consume the tithes, rejoice in where God chooses, so that you may learn to honor. How do you think this helps us to honor him? Any ideas?
I just want to be clear what's going on. First, God said, set aside, give us a tithe.
Right.
So is this
And this
another?
is another one.
This is the
Yes.
second one.
This is
The first
yeah.
one was giving to the
Once a
leaders.
year. This is
Okay.
another one.
And this one is to take for yourself to eat and to,
Yeah, exactly.
maybe
You're-
it's about learning to, this is God telling us to enjoy what he has given us. Maybe it's a way of learning how to be joyful and to, but to know that God has given it to us.
Exactly. And then when we see that and we acknowledge it, then we say, wow, God, thank you. And we revere his name because we know he's watching over us. Then it continues. So if the distance is too great for you, like, because we had, Brian, you want to turn off your, I'm going to mute you, okay? Should the distance be too great for you, should you be unable to transport them, remember, the Shavuot was one of the three pilgrimage festivals, Shalosh Regalim. The first one, the men would have to travel to on Pesach. This is the second one, Shavuot. They'd have to travel again to the temple. And the third one is at Sukkot. Those are the three when the families, the men, and would bring everybody. They would go to Jerusalem to celebrate all together. But if you're unable to bring all your animals, to bring everything there that you were going to offer to God, because the place where the Lord your God has chosen to establish his divine name is far from you. Some people live too far. They couldn't afford it. Some people can't go today to Israel, to Jerusalem, for Shavuot. Because the eternal your God has blessed you, you may convert all these things into money, wrap up the money, take it with you to the place that the Lord your God has chosen, and spend the money on whatever you want: cattle, sheep, wine, other intoxicants. It's interesting because the Torah is honest. God didn't tell us not to drink. He doesn't want us to become drunks. But other religions say they're not allowed to drink. That's not what the Torah says. You see that in many religions. Oh, no, no, we don't drink. But it's not.
Not only that, here, like we know about, tithing and giving, etc. But here we're basically, it's like a command to go out and enjoy ourselves.
Exactly.
How many people do that? Observed, I mean, we do it, but this is a real specific command, so to speak.
I know.
To go out and to really enjoy the world that God has given us in God's, not, I'm not saying going to clubs and stuff like that, but to really, really enjoy
Everything within his boundaries.
Yeah.
It's for us to enjoy. He's made the whole earth for us to enjoy. We're the ones messing it up.
But
We're the
how
ones.
many people can't really do that? They just find it hard to do that.
What do you mean?
Like to just, you know, let go and be happy and enjoy the fruits of this earth, the beauty of this earth, and I mean, it's a beautiful thing that God is asking us to do that.
There's no doubt about it. To tell you the truth, this is the first day, honestly, Miriam, that I have to say how well I've been feeling. Remember, I came down with bronchitis. I had on antibiotics, and the lower I got, the worse I felt. But at the same time, I was going through so many emotional battles, like the one that I talked to you about this morning. I had so much guilt and I was so unhappy and I was exhausted. And then I spoke to you and really let it out and let the tears flow. I cannot tell you how the rest of my day was so joyful. I
Yeah.
even went shopping. I was so happy. It's like I was starting to feel, wow, I'm ready for Shavuot. I'm ready to rejoice and to be happy because sometimes, like I was looking at all the things I needed to do, prepare for tonight, prepare for Shavuot service, prepare for Shabbat service. And sometimes if you think, oh, I'm doing all these things for God, but I had no joy in it. And I just had to say, God, please help me. If I'm not going to do it, what's the point? What is the point of doing all this work for you if I can't enjoy you, if I can't rejoice in what God is doing? And that's what he's telling us.
Yeah.
And it says, do not neglect the Levite in your community, for he has no hereditary portion as you have. And we always have to remember the ministers in our community, because remember, the Levites did not have land. They were dispersed, as we read last week, amongst the 12 tribes. They would be living among the tribes to minister, to be the link between God and the people. So we have to take care of them. Every third year, you shall bring out the full tithe of your yield of that year, but leave it within your settlements. Then the Levite, who has no hereditary portion as you have, and look at the first one after the Levite, Miriam and Jerry. I don't know if you see this. Brian, look at this. Who's next? The stranger, the ger, the one like Ruth. This is one of the reasons we read Ruth, the story of Ruth. It's a love story here, Ruth was a Moabite, an enemy of Israel, but she left. She left her people, she left her gods, and she went with Naomi back to her home. And she said, your God is my God, your people are my people.
You're
That's
seeing
all.
some of that now, not
Yes.
fully but you're seeing, I'm here, I'm listening to this very passionate um, Arab man, Muslim Arab man. What's his name? Hassan. He's on Instagram a lot.
Okay.
Very pro-Israel and
Yeah.
he's not afraid. He said they can't even if they kill me, they can't take my spirit.
Wow. But look what happened even recently. I was listening to President Trump speaking about on the last Shabbat, encouraging everyone to take a Shabbat. Everyone, not only the Jewish community. And then I heard some Orthodox Jews, and to tell you the truth, I was a little upset because what they were saying was, no, the Shabbat is only for the Jews. All the rules and regulations, they have the 7 Noahide laws. Nowhere does the Torah say that. As a matter of fact, later on in Numbers 15, we're going to see in this book that we're going to be reading, Numbers 15 said, every single rule, regulation, chukim, mishpatim, mitzvot, the whole Torah was for the Jew and the stranger living among us. There's no separate rules and regulations. What our sages have done in diaspora has created the oral law, the Talmud, all these rules and regulations that are just for them. God isn't asking anybody to do that, not even us. He's not certainly not the stranger, but
Well, like we talked yesterday, that would mean that there are two gods.
Exactly.
One for the Jewish people and one for the Gentiles.
Exactly. And there are not two gods. There's only one. And
Yeah.
that's a big problem in Judaism today. And it makes me very sad. So the stranger is the first one to be considered. Then the orphan, the fatherless, the orphan, and the widow in your settlements shall come and eat their fill. So these are the ones who we have to take care of. They're the weaker ones. God is always telling us to have mercy and compassion upon those who cannot take care of themselves, so that the eternal, your God, may bless you in everything that you undertake to do. This is what we have to do. It's not just, praying, oh God, I'm here for you. It's actually doing. We have to take care of the weakest among us. Let them come and eat. And then look at it says, every 7th year you shall practice remission of debt. And this is the nature of the remission. All creditors shall remit the due that they claim from their fellow Israelites. They shall not dun their fellow Israelites, ignore them, their kindred, for the remission proclaimed is from God. Here it says, you may dun or you may not do that, where what's the word for done? Like but the foreigner here is not ger, it's Nahari. It's the one who really wasn't interested in our God or in becoming part of Israel. But you must remit whatever is due from your kindred. So just imagine if I lend somebody money. Now, if I lend somebody who's Jewish money, or somebody who's a believer, somebody who I believe is is trying to keep God's word, and they're really struggling. And after 7 years, they're still struggling for whatever reasons. You know what? If they haven't been able to pay it back after 7 years, God is saying, have rachmonis. Have pity on these people. Forget the debt. And I remember that happening to me, and I did forget the debt. I forgave them, and they were so excited. They were so happy. God cares about what we do with money, how we handle it. And I think that's a very important part, because after 7 years, if they can't pay it back, forget it. It's too much. It's become too much of a burden on them. For there shall be no needy among you. We're to take care of each other, since the eternal your God will bless you in the land that the eternal your God is giving you as a hereditary portion. If only you heed the eternal your God and take care to keep all this Torah, these mitzvot, the mishpatim, the chukim, do all of them that I am commanding you this day. For the eternal your God will bless you as promised. You will extend loans to many nations, but require none yourself. You will have dominion over many nations, but they will not dominate you. If there's a needy person among you, one of your family or those in your community, in any of your settlements in the land that the eternal your God is giving you, do not harden your heart and shut your hand against your needy kindred. Rather, you must open your hand and lend whatever they need to meet is sufficient to meet the needs. If we turn our eyes away from someone who is really needy, we are going to suffer the consequences because someone will shut it away from us. Beware lest you harbor the base thought, on the 7th year, the year of remission is approaching, so that you are mean and give nothing to your needy kindred, who will cry out to God against you, and you will incur guilt. Give openly, give cheerfully, give willingly, have no regrets when you do, because in return, the eternal your God will bless you in all your efforts and in all your undertakings. For there will never cease to be the poor among you. Yeshua said the same thing. The poor will be with us always. Which is why I command you, this is God commanding, open your hand to the poor and the needy, kindred, your fellow, your neighbor, your family in your land. If they need something, give it. If any fellow Hebrew, male or female, is sold to you, they shall serve you 6 years, and in the 7th year, set them free. And when you set them free, don't let them go empty-handed. Give to them from your flock. Help them to start again. Threshing floor from your vat, with which the eternal, your God, has blessed you. It's not that you don't have anything and you have to give from what you don't have. God has already given it to you. Remember, you were slaves in the land of Egypt, and the eternal, your God, redeemed you. So I command you this day, this commandment upon you this day. Now, this is really important, and we're going to talk about it a little later, because one of the things that we celebrate at Shavuot is the giving of the 10 commandments. After Pesach, we left Egypt on Pesach. We walked for 50 days, and we got to Mount Sinai. That's when the commandments were given to us. That's why they say it's a time in Shavuot to celebrate the giving of the 10 commandments. And one of the things that they do every time I see the 10 commandments read, or they've been raising up these pillars in the United States, which is wonderful, about the 10 commandments, but they leave out the words, I am the God who brought you out of the land of Egypt, out of bondage. We were slaves. God is constantly going to remind us that we have to remember, even if it was 3,500 years ago, we were slaves, and not to enslave anybody. But should they say to you, this is a slave now, after 7 years, if that person should say, I don't want to leave you, because they love you in your household and are happy with you, then take an awl and put it through their ear into the door, and they shall become your slave in perpetuity. Do this even with your female slave. And when you do set them free, do not feel sad about it. Do not be aggrieved, for in the 6 years you have been given double the service of a hired worker. Moreover, the eternal God will bless you in all you do. You shall consecrate to the eternal your God all firstborn males from your herd and your flock, but you must not work the firstborn ox or shear your firstborn sheep. You and your household shall eat it annually before the eternal your God in the place that God will choose. But you're eating it because you've brought it as an offering to God. Could have been any one of the 5 offerings that we read about earlier in the Torah. But we have to remember, if it has a defect, if it is lame or blind, any serious defect, you shall not sacrifice it to the eternal your God. That's one of the reasons that Yeshua got so upset at the money changers at the table at the temple, because people were coming from far and they brought money. They couldn't afford to bring their animals. They brought their money and they went to buy an animal, and they were being sold animals with defects, who were lame or blind. And Yeshua got really upset because they were going against the Torah. Eat it in your settlements. The impure among you no less than the pure, just like the gazelle and the deer. You must not partake of its blood. You pour it out on the ground like water. And then it goes into the month of Aviv. We're now in Aviv, but we've already passed Pesach. Observe the month of Aviv and offer a Pesach sacrifice to the eternal your God, for it was in the month of Aviv at night that the eternal your God freed you from Egypt. Slaughter the Pesach for the eternal your God from the flock or the herd in the place where God will choose to establish his name. You will not eat anything leavened with it. For 7 days afterwards you shall eat unleavened bread, bread of affliction. For you departed from the land of Egypt hurriedly, so that you may remember the day of your departure from the land of Egypt as long as you live. As long as we live on earth, we who follow the Torah are told to remember these days. For 7 days, no leaven shall be found in all your territory. None of the flesh of what you slaughter on the evening of the first day shall be left until morning. You are not permitted to slaughter the Pesach in any of your settlements that the Lord your God is giving you, but only at the place where the eternal your God will choose to establish the divine name. Could be in the Mishkan, it could have been later in the temple. There alone, because we were not like the pagans that had their little altars everywhere. God was setting up order, and we needed to follow his order. There alone shall you slaughter the Pesach in the evening, at sundown, the time of day when you departed from Egypt. Cook it and eat it at the place of the eternal your God will choose, and in the morning you may start back on your journey. I think this is all. Hang on a second, let me just be sure. 16:7, yeah. So we began with the tithe, and we set apart 1/10 of everything. We covered that. Then, so the broader idea here is that in community, everyone has their part, and we're all to take care of each other. There's to be no needing among us. All our debts needed to be forgiven. We needed to forgive other debts. Now, on the first day of Shavuot, we were going to be reading Ezekiel 1:1-28. Let's go to Ezekiel 1:1-28. Miriam, would you like to read?
In the 30th year, on the 5th day of the 4th month, when I was in the community of exiles by the Chebar Canal, the heavens opened and I saw visions of God. On the 5th day of the month, it was the fifth year of the exile of King Jehoiakim. Okay. The word of God came to the priest Ezekiel, son of Buzi, by the Chebar Canal in the land of the Chaldeans, and the hand of God came upon him there. I looked, and lo, a stormy wind came sweeping out of the north, a huge cloud and flashing fire, surrounded by a radiance, and in the center of it, in the center of the fire, a gleam as of amber. In the center of it were also the figures of 4 creatures, and this was their appearance. They had the figures of human beings. However, each had 4 faces, and each of them had 4 wings. The legs of each were fused into a single rigid leg, and the feet of each were like a single calf's hoof, and their sparkle was like the luster of burnished bronze. They had human hands below their wings. The 4 of them had their faces and their wings on their 4 sides. Each one's wings touched those of the other. They did not turn when they moved. Each could move in the direction of any of its faces. Each of them had a human face at the front. Each of the 4 had the face of a lion on the right. Each of the 4 had the face of an ox on the left, and each of the 4 had the face of an eagle at the back. Such were their faces. As for their wings, they were separated. Above, each had 2 touching those of the others, while the other 2 covered its body. And each could move in direction of any of its faces. They went wherever the Spirit impelled them to go, without turning when they moved. Such then was the appearance of the creatures. With them was something that looked like burning coals of fire. This fire, suggestive of torches, kept moving about among the creatures. The fire had a radiance, and lightning issued from the fire. Dashing to and fro among the creatures was something that looked like flares. As I gazed on the creatures, I saw one wheel on the ground next to each of the four-faced creatures. As for the appearance and structure of the wheels, they gleamed like beryl. All four had the same form. The appearance and structure of each was as of two wheels cutting through each other. And when they moved, each could move in the direction of any of its, four quarters. They did not veer when they moved. Their rims were tall and frightening, for the rims of all four were covered all over with eyes. And when the creatures moved forward, the wheels moved at their sides. And when the creatures were born above the earth, the wheels were born too. Wherever the Spirit impelled them to go, they went. Wherever the Spirit impelled them, and the wheels were borne alongside them, for the spirit of the creatures was in the wheels. When those moved, these moved, and when those stood still, these stood still. And when those were borne above the earth, the wheels were borne alongside them, for the spirit of the creatures was in the wheels. Above the heads of the creatures was a form, an expanse, with an awe-inspiring gleam as of crystal, was spread out above their heads. Under the expanse, each had one pair of wings extended toward those of the others, and each had another pair covering its body. When they moved, I could hear the sound of their wings, like the sound of mighty waters, like the sounds of Shaddai. A tumult like the din of an army. When they stood still, they would let their wings droop. Excuse me. From above, the expanse over their heads came a sound. When they stood still, they would let their wings droop. Above the expanse over their heads was the semblance of a throne, in appearance like sapphire, and on top, upon the semblance of a throne, there was the semblance of a human form. From what appeared as the loins up, I saw a gleam as of amber, what looked like a fire encased in a frame. And from what appeared as the loins down, I saw what looked like fire. There was a surrounding radiance. Like the appearance of the bow that shines in the clouds on the day of rain, such was the appearance of the surrounding radiance. That was the appearance of the semblance of the presence of God. When I beheld it, I flung myself down on my face, and I heard the voice of someone speaking.
Wow.
That's beautiful.
Isn't that,
Wow.
this is, they read it because it's a reminder of what the mountain was like that day when God came down and handed Moses his 10 commandments. And if we think we need anything outside our prophets and our Torah in the Tanakh, that outside, when we think we need something outside that's mystical, what could be more mystical than this?
Yeah, that's what I always say. The very existence of God is in itself mystical.
Exactly.
It's so above the material, just the material explanation of the world.
Exactly. So we also read Ruth, which we're not going to read tonight. We're going to read it on Thursday. We also read Shir HaShirim, the Song of Songs, because basically the this where did I write this? Because it's so beautiful. It's hold on, let me find it. It's a love story. You know that when we recite the Song of Songs, Shear HaShirim, it's like Shavuot signifies the wedding between the Creator and Israel. And these 10 commandments, which we're going to read and which we read every Shabbat, they are the ketubah. They're the contract. They're what the gift that God gave his bride to not only live, but to bring it to the rest of the world. So it's absolutely beautiful. So these 10 commandments, now again, what I said before, these are the words that God spoke to Moses. Now Moses, at the beginning, God was speaking it out on the top from the top of the mountain, and everyone could hear. Everyone was listening. In the midst of the thunder, in the midst of the shaking, in the midst of the fire, we were listening to these words. But after a while, it's like the people started to cover their ears. We'll do everything you said, but you tell us. This is what they said to Moses. You listen. It's like they were afraid to listen to the voice of God. And I don't know how I would feel. It's not that I'm judging them, but let me tell you, it must have been an awesome sight. So here, I am the Lord your God, Anuchi Yud He Vav He Elohecha, who brought you out of the land of Egypt, out of the house of bondage. It says, you shall have no other gods. That's how it's translated. But other religions, especially Christianity, says, I am the Lord your God, you shall have no other gods. Why do you think they've taken out who brought you out of the land of Egypt, out of the house of bondage? When they sat down at the Council of Nicaea, and they go behind closed doors, they were making up the new rules and the new regulations. How could they promote their Jesus Christ as God, as the creator, without taking this out? Because if you ask anybody, who brought the Israelites out of the land of Egypt, they would all say Moses. Of course, God was the one who did it. But they know it wasn't Jesus Christ. He was nowhere around. All these interpretations are pushed on us to believe something that doesn't exist. You shall have no other gods. Literally, don't put anything acharei al panai. Don't put any other form to cover my face, the face of God. First of all, God doesn't have a face, but the whole idea is that he's facing us, constantly watching out for us. When he told Moses, you can see my back, basically it's a way of saying, you're going to know, Moses, that I have your back. These are all, Hebrew is a language of pictures. So we have to step back and say, what is he really saying here? The second commandment, don't make any images. Don't make any likeness of what's heaven above or on earth below or in the waters under the earth. It doesn't mean we can't paint a beautiful scenery, but it says, do not bow down before them. Do not worship them or serve these statues of bronze or clay or whatever you're going to make, because I'm the only God. It says, I, the Lord your God, am a jealous God. He's not jealous like we are jealous. He's zealous for us. He wants us to know that he's the only God. He's the only one who's going to be able to take care of us. All these other images can't do anything. And when we do, look what it says here, and we've all fallen. I know I spent years worshiping other gods. I didn't know I was doing it, but I had no one at that time to teach me. And it says, visiting the guilt, the iniquity of the parents upon the children to the third and fourth generation of those who reject me. So those days I was rejecting him without even realizing. And I try to look back at how many generations before I turned back to God. I didn't do it on my own. God called me, let me tell you. It wasn't me who did it. But it says showing kindness to the thousandth generation, meaning for eternity, to those who love me and keep my commandments. So, if I go back to my great grandparents who came here from Ukraine in 1906 because of the pogroms, I'm the third and fourth generation. That was my grandparents, my parents, me, and my children and my grandchildren. So I look at now, when I pray, I ask God, you said this. I love you and I work hard to keep your commandments. And I'm begging you to please show kindness to the rest of the generations after me, because I no longer reject you. Now I love you and I want to follow you. Doesn't mean I'm not going to fall or fail or go through hard times, but it's every day I'm going to deal with the choices that I have to make within God's 10 commandments. These are his boundaries that he's giving us. Do you have anything to add to this, Miriam, before I go on?
Not yet. I don't think so.
Okay, well, don't be afraid to interrupt me.
Okay.
The third commandment: do not take the name of the Lord your God in vain. Doesn't only mean swear using his name. When you take something in vain, it's like you're doing something for nothing. Your God doesn't mean anything to you, because God won't hold him guiltless who takes his name. His name contains everything he is. It has to do with his very reputation. When we are not living up to the things that God asks us to do, we are ruining the reputation of our God. If I do something that, like I don't keep my word, and I'm doing this, if I do it constantly, I make promises and I never keep my word, my name is going to be soiled. People will, when they speak about me, they're going to say, ah, that person, she never keeps her word. It's like taking my name in vain. My name is my reputation, and we are his ambassadors. We, the people of Israel, and the Ger with us, represent the God of the universe to the rest of the world, and these are what he's asking us to do. Only these. This is all.
Also, with taking your name in vain, what's his name? Who I watch all the
Jordan
time.
Peterson?
Yeah, he was saying, which is, when you do something self-righteously, say within self-righteousness, or when you use the name of God to do something dishonorable, like, oh, I'm a godly person, and really you're stealing money and under the guise of it being, for example, for a good cause, like,
Right.
oh, I'm feeding the poor, but really you're pocketing it, or you're just twisting, you're using God's name for evil.
Right.
That's a
Or if you're selling drugs, or you're selling people, and then you take the money and you bring it to your local congregation and you give it to the minister there as a big offering. You think God's going to be pleased with that?
saying, see, I'm doing it, it's for good. And look what I'm
Exactly.
doing for the congregation.
Right. Exactly. It's God sees us. That's why he's always judging the intention of our hearts. And the fourth commandment, so the first three are called mitzvot. They have to do with our relationship with our Creator, to know who he is. He's the one who is active among us. He took us out of the land of Egypt. He set us free. He wasn't only the creator of the universe, he's a personal God. He cares about us. He cares about the tiniest insect, the smallest of sparrows. He knows everything. He knows every one of us. So, and we are not, and the second one is the second commandment: don't make any images, don't bow down to them. And the third one, don't take his name in vain. These are all about how we are to have a relationship, how to love our God. And then the next two are the middle ones. They are for you and me. They are the ones that say, remember the Sabbath. Because God said, I'm giving you 6 days you can do all your work. But the seventh day is a sign. It's not just a day of rest. It's a sign that I am the God of creation. Believe in me, trust in me, and everything will be provided. Don't worry that you're not working on this seventh day. I'm going to give you enough on the rest of the week that you can take that day off. And God was constantly trying to show us that throughout our time, our 40 years in the desert. Don't do any work on it. Don't make anybody, not your family, not your children, not your animals, not nobody who works for you, or the stranger who is within your gates. Again, the ger. When I see so many of these religious people who say, no, it's just for the Jew. The stranger can do something else. That's not what God said. Even President Trump said, you're going to take one day. He's like a Messiah-like figure. It's unbelievable what he's done. God is really using this man to bring the word of God back to the people. It's absolutely amazing. 6 days God made the heavens and the earth, the sea and all that is in them, and rested on the seventh day. And then that's why God blessed the Sabbath day and set it apart for you and I. When we don't keep it, we are not blessed. And the fifth one, this is so important for us. So many of us have had a rough time with our parents. As we get older and as we come to know God, we start to understand that our parents never intentionally did anything to hurt us. They were suffering too. And so no matter what, they gave us life. And if we cannot honor them, we'll never honor anyone in authority, and we certainly will not honor our God. So that you may live long upon the land that the Lord your God is giving you. If we want to live long, we want to live well, keep the fourth and the fifth commandments. These are the hinge between the next 5 are called the mishpatim. These are the ones that teach us how to love our neighbor. First, we love God. Second, we love ourselves. Then we can love our neighbor. If we hate ourselves and we hate God, we will never be able to love our neighbor. We will hate our neighbor. Do not commit premeditated murder. Doesn't say don't kill. Don't consider and holding hatred in your heart and going out and planning to kill someone. And this is even abortion, killing the baby who is within the womb. The earth today is crying out for all these babies. Do not commit adultery. Do not adulterate the word of God. It's not only about adultery where a woman goes after another man while she's still married. But it's also adulterating. It has a broader understanding, adulterating anything that changing God's words. Don't steal. If you love their neighbor, you're not going to steal from them. You want the best for them. Don't bear false witness against your neighbor. In other words, don't gossip about them. Don't tell lies, not only in a court of law, where you're bearing false witness against your neighbor. That's why in the Torah it says, if you bear false witness against your neighbor, you need to be the first one who's going to stone that neighbor if you speak against them. God is really clear about what we have to do. And the 10th one, do not covet. Covet is even worse than jealousy. Covet is doing anything to get. You'll murder them to get what they have. Do not covet their wife, their house, their wife, their servants, their ox, their donkey, their Ferrari, their Corvette, their clothes, nothing. Be happy for them. And then I added this. When the Pharisees asked Rabbi Yeshua, Adoni, which is the greatest commandment in the Torah? Rabbi Yeshua answered, love the Lord your God with all your heart, with all your soul, v'meodecha, with everything you have. That's the first three. Love your neighbor. The last three, as yourself. The entire Torah and the prophets are founded upon these two, on these 10, I should say. No, wait a minute. On these three? Love the Lord your God with all your heart, your soul, and with everything you have. Oh, that's one. And love your neighbor as yourself. Those are the two commandments that he's giving us. So God is really clear about what he wants us to do. And when we start adding and adding and adding and taking away from what he says, we get into trouble. So this is basically what Shavuot is. On Thursday night, we're going to read also the first chapter of Ruth, which is something that's good to read because Ruth takes place at the harvest time. She is a Moabite who ends up turning toward the God of Israel. It's a story of love. And here, this Moabite, who God said have nothing to do with the Moabites for 10 generations, and here she marries Boaz and becomes the great great grandmother of King David. How beautiful is that? So the whole story of Shavuot is a really beautiful, beautiful holiday. And looking forward to celebrating it with everybody on Thursday evening. If anyone who is watching this has not received an invitation with the Zoom link and you'd like to receive it, please send me your quick email and I'll forward the link to you right away. And I think that's it. If there's no other comments
Thank you
about,
very much.
you're welcome.
I love especially the Haftorah. Beautiful.
That's why I let you read it, because I know you love the mysticism, the mystical. That we all do.
Yeah. There's Brian, what?
Brian, are you trying to say something? I can't
Turn
hear
your
you.
volume on.
You're on mute. You're still on mute. I can't hear you. There you go.
Now,
Yes.
is there a different number?
No, we're going to do the same number as Shabbat.
Oh,
It's in.
700, whatever.
Yeah,
it
I
is.
sent an email out to everybody with a flyer and the Zoom link, and it's also in our bulletin.
It's the same one for Saturday.
Same one for Saturday. You already have it in your brain.
Okay,
Okay?
good.
Very good to see you, Baruch. Baruch atah Adonai.
Jerry, where are you?
I guess Jerry went out.
Somebody
Anyway, I
from
wish you all
Benson.
the best. Have a wonderful week until we see you again on Shavuot.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome. You're welcome. How do I turn this off? I'll see you soon. Mwah. Love you all.
Right.
Bye.